Well, so much for that.
Well done.
So
Hey,
I'm not using this camera today, apparently.
Oh no. Well, you still got time. Plug it in, man.
Hey, do your thing, man. This is live. This is how it goes.
This is how it runs. Hey, so I'm John Paduchak, JohnPaduchak.com, and our agency Targeted Net Solutions. Got Dr. Vogelman over here, who's
Dr. Christopher Vogelman of Maximize Your Media, and Life Beyond Practice, which is the group for doctors who want to escape the exam room for their own online business.
And I'm Troy McDonald of LiveEventMarketers.com. Also, that actually leads to the Facebook group of Live Event Marketers. And what we do is we share live streams or live events that are happening based on business and marketing. Kind of an aggregate system that, or an aggregate group that will let you see what things you may want to attend, and also share your own live streams and live events.
It's like a giant collector.
kind of.
Well, the whole part of the concept did come from actually, if you go into Google and you want to find a particular thing, like, Mexican food recipes, right?
Right.
I know where to find those.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Then you
Let's go downstairs.
Mexico.
Yeah. Or Dr. V's wife's blog, right?
Yep. In Mama Maggie's Kitchen. MamaMaggie'sKitchen.com.
And
and happy Cinco de Mayo before I forget.
Oh, yes.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
In fact, we're going to do
this one is empty, but it was from last night. So I was doing Cinco de Mayo Eve.
You were preparing.
I was prepared. I was lubricating myself for the Cinco.
Wetting the whistle, huh? Yeah, I mean, so again, since we are talking about video and live video today is the topic. So that's kind of what my thing was, is when I came up with the group, it stemmed from a few different things, but one of them was that in my own feed within Facebook, you would see, just scrolling through, you would see, oh, such and so is live, or such and so has an event that's scheduled to be live, and that kind of thing. And I was like, I don't always see these, and it depends on how far you scroll down, because they just keep getting stacked on each other. And sometimes I would miss stuff, and I'm like, well, okay, I watched the replay. That's cool and all, but I would have loved to have known it was live, because I actually, that person or that topic, I would have liked to have tossed out some questions, or get some clarification on some things. And when you miss it, a lot of times when you miss it and you go to type in some reply to it, sometimes you'll get a reply from the person or you don't. And so it's, really the best time is live. So I thought, well, what does Google do? It aggregates all the information on a particular topic. And again, since my background is marketing and business, specifically with the internet, and I have a lot of friends that are marketers, I'm like, well, I'm just going to help start putting them all together in one place where we can see the live events that are coming up for our industry. Because kind of in our industry, we find that a lot of people learn from each other, and we also buy from each other as far as products and services. And so it's just good to kind of be in the know and kind of go to one place instead of like, do I got to search every single day, go through my own feed to try and find, what's there? Ain't nobody got no time for that, right?
Ain't nobody got no time for that, man.
So that's kind of how the live event group got started. And it was just really on a whim. Heck, I mean, and even me, like going live, heck, like I say, I've got my patented, signature series, signature series.
Are you shearing those?
Yes.
Hey, Siri, is he shearing?
I just started going live too.
Oh no, Siri! No, Siri, go away.
See, you brought that on yourself.
I did. That was the flaws of live. Sorry.
So yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of like an element of my live experience, is actually getting a group together that will go live.
Cool. Very cool.
He's good.
So, and actually, we just reached 500 members, basically just slightly over a month. So
Cinco on Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco, yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's funny. I was looking over there today, and I said, I thought Troy had 500 members, but when I looked, it was 499.
It's
Oh,
if you look, it's 500 right now.
We've just made it over.
Yep.
Well, 490 reminds me of the highway from the New York State Thruway
I
to
know. I knew
Rochester.
that one well.
That's why I kept thinking the 490.
I know the things we think of, right? It's crazy.
I know.
It's crazy.
That's because we're conditioned by our environment early on.
So I'm excited about today's topic because
Are you?
for years, I've been talking about how to improve your live video audio quality
Oh.
by optimizing your audio for podcasting.
Ah.
And I thought that would be kind of a fun thing to talk about a little bit today.
Should I have hooked up this camera because it has a better audio than my earbud?
Well, you sound fine, and I think actually this is a good point to bring up before we actually get into maybe some of the intricacies or the actual details of it.
Yeah.
Is if you talk to anybody who does video, and it's usually recorded video,
right? But
it really goes along with just live streaming as well. That you can have maybe not the best video quality,
right?
But you want to make sure that your audio quality is as good as it can be.
Yes.
Because audio is it's kind of interesting when you think about it. It's a medium, video is a medium that's visual, right? But then why is there such a huge emphasis on audio? But I never really stopped to think about it. And so I'm just going off the first thing that comes to mind is that even if the video isn't the greatest, to be able to hear what is trying to be brought across is super important. And I think people can, again, even if they didn't, because for me, when I watch or when I have live streams a lot of times going on, I'll have that in another window while I'm doing stuff, but I'm just still listening. So really audio is good, or is a super important piece in that respect. But also I think if the video is not that great, but the audio is good, people can get enough information and enough understanding from the audio mixed with even poor video to get the point across of whatever is trying to be brought across. So that's just my kind of quick.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of the old Billy Crystal character on Saturday Night Live, Fernando. I'd rather look good than feel good. Yes. And in this case, you're talking about I'd rather sound good than look good.
Yeah.
It almost sounded Russian, actually. Now
isn't that the same one where it all comes down to? He's like, "You look marvelous."
Yes, you look marvelous.
Yeah. Simply marvelous. Yeah.
So you want to sound marvelous.
Marvelous. Yep.
Above looking marvelous.
No look.
Very, very, very important.
So just remember, whenever you are doing video, remember that Troy is probably listening to you in a different window or tab. Keep that in mind.
Hey, I got a lot of things to get done, right?
Yeah. My wife's the same way. She's working on blog posts and social sharing of her and broadcasting and doing all kinds of things. Well, not so much the broadcasting, but she's doing the social sharing because when she publishes something, she's got to distribute it everywhere, from Instagram to Facebook to Pinterest and everywhere else. And she will do this exactly what you're talking about, which is listening to somebody's previously recorded live video in the background while she's working on tasks that are a little more mundane.
And I'm actually listening to you right now because I have you.
You're working.
Hey, I'm posting to tell some people to actually come join us, and
that's good. I did that too.
I mean, I did the normal posts to tell people to join us, but I posted actually the StreamYard.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too.
Yeah,
I got it in a couple of places. One of these days, somebody else is going to join us. We've had some great people joining us. I guess you don't have to be afraid to join. You don't have to be the fly on the wall.
Watching, feel free to say hello in the comments so we know you're here.
You can, say hello that you're in comments, ask a question, give us a sad face, an angry face, some hearts.
Any kind of face.
We'll take any face you have.
Your face is your face.
Your face is your face. Fix it.
So going back to audio, I think the other thing with audio is audio has been with us a lot longer. I mean, we've had radio for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And so people are used to that resonance of voice that's created. So it's not just what you hear, but it's the feeling of it that's important. Because you probably remember when we were kids, And, you know, our mothers would be in the kitchen watching TV. They hardly ever paid
We have a
attention.
TV in the kitchen.
You didn't have a TV in the kitchen?
No.
Okay, so maybe not.
I know some
She
have
was listening to the
yeah.
radio, though.
Or listening to the radio.
Yeah.
They liked the sound or the feeling that it
Yeah.
was emanating almost as much as just the audio. So that's the other side of it too. So you want to make sure that, and that's the reason that we have all the mic gadgets that we have when we're doing podcasting, because you want the mic as close to you and as full, sound full as you can get it.
Well, so we're looking at this thing about audio versus not even versus video, but we were talking at one point, John and I were talking about the benefits of making a video podcast over an audio podcast, or taking the video then stripping out the audio, because you say you want really, really good audio. But I think one potential benefit of doing a video podcast first, you can put it up on YouTube or Vimeo or someplace else like that, is that we're kind of hardwired to look at faces. And isn't it always interesting when you're listening to broadcasts of people you've never seen their picture before, and in your imagination you have constructed something about what you think they look like, and then you finally see them? Does that destroy your perception of the audio, or does it enhance your perception of the audio?
You can go either way.
Well,
Yeah.
The interesting thing, I can give it a real example about that. So a lot of times in the evening when I'm relaxing, I'm just, you know, getting winding down and getting ready to go to bed, I'll watch some YouTube, some kind of just various things that, you know, I'm subscribed to. And one of them is actually a gamer, because I game on the weekends, or I should say I game on Friday night typically. And so I watch one on a regular basis. He's a lot of gamers that I've kind of run into, like a lot of swear words and all this kind of stuff that just, to me, I'm like, why do I need that for the game? I don't know, it just makes no sense. Anyway, side note. So he brings in every now and then some of his other friends. And so I've heard them like on many different episodes, and I've never known what they look like. Then I finally thought, hey, I'm going to look up, because they are also YouTube streamers.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, let me see what they look like, because when they do when the main gamer streams, it's just his face, so I know what he looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And you just hear the other guys and they're playing, they're talking, and everything like that. So I finally checked out these other two, and one of them, my thinking was not so far off, in a sense of like I didn't feel like shock and awe kind of thing. But yeah, so the second guy, because there's three of them, I was like, wow. And to this day, when I just watch the main gamer play, and I know what one of the other guys looks like, I just revert to my own image of what I thought he looked like.
Yeah,
because,
the one you preferred before.
Well, and that, I don't mean to, I'm not necessarily trying to insult anybody, but I kind of grew into, this is the guy I thought was playing.
Sure.
And the guy's he's a super nice guy, and I really enjoy him. Like I say, their language is not like crazy, so it's enjoyable just to kind of relax and watch. But it is interesting that I envision, so like with the what John was saying, you feel like I had an experience just with the audio without actually ever having to see what he looked like. And so I think that is true, that you get an experience with audio. So not only, with video, you're getting both experiences, but even just with the one form of media, the audio part, you have an experience.
Yeah, there you have experience, but there's also, video does give you a greater sense of familiarity in terms of resonating with a person, I think.
You can get it all.
You can get it all.
Almost all.
I mean, you can have it all.
But I think though, the familiarity though also is driven by frequency. So the more frequently that they either hear you, so think about somebody that you maybe listen to a radio talk show all the time. You've never met the person, maybe even never seen them, because maybe it's like they're even if you listen to an old radio broadcaster, but you listen to quite a few of those, you may have never ever met that person, or even thought, hey, let me finally look up how they, and see how they looked on the internet, because they're passed away, they're actually no longer around. But you can have a connection with them, and I think that actually comes from the frequency that people connect with you, both either auditorily or visually.
Visualary. Hey, Larry, get me some visuals.
Hey, Larry.
Larry.
You know,
See, there you've got some visuals right there. You know what your Three Stooges look like.
I love my Stooges. Don't nobody mess with my Stooges.
Don't nobody mess with my Stooges.
Anyway, so that's so I think that the auditory part, you know, can actually have a connection. I agree with you that the visual does bring another element as well.
But here's the
we're
thing,
kind of like on the auditory kind of side of it right now.
Yeah,
so
but I mean, within the next 24, 36 months, something like that, the prediction is that, you know, internet consumption of media will be about 90% video. So it might behoove you to consider doing video as your primary with audio as the secondary. I mean, the other thing I'm thinking of is if you had a video podcast, let's say on YouTube, you're bound to get more views and more fans than you would by just throwing up your podcast onto iTunes or Spotify.
I completely agree. I think you should be filming your
recording. Yeah.
And well, not only for the fact of kind of what you're saying, but if you look at some other things too, there are a lot of people who like to listen to podcasts when it comes to exercising. So that's not going to be a video form, even though some may have it at a stationary place and they can actually watch it. But like somebody going out for a jog, they're going to listen to the auditory part of it. But the simple fact,
TV when they work. I was going to say people watch TV when they work out.
Oh yeah.
The biggest thing that was always our concern is, you know, the average commute for somebody commuting to work is 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah. So you obviously wouldn't want them watching a video while they're driving their car.
And yet some people do. There's the problem.
So
I like when I see those people doing makeup and everything in their car.
Yeah.
You know, like, wow.
I was watching one woman in Maryland one time. She was painting her nails as she was driving. I got as far away from that gigantic SUV as I could in that moment.
And what's going on now has changed things even further, because now there really is essentially for very few people a commute because they're working from home. And hey, now video is an option. So
does your 20 to 30 minute time frame expand because they're working from home?
I would guess that your 20, 30 minute time frame is probably normal, because what I can see is I can see somebody having their coffee and maybe eating their breakfast and listening to something.
So you get your half-hour sitcom unit in there with about 22 minutes of content and 8 minutes of commercials, or 20.
Yeah, I can see something like that still happening, even though there's no real commute to work. It's probably that.
Well, I kind of like the bite-sized pieces. I mean, theoretically, you could take, let's say that you did a video broadcast, live video, and you had, well, let's say for one of it, 3 points during your 60-minute broadcast. You could chunk those down into 3 20-minute podcasts.
Well, like short video segments are brilliant. I think short podcast
segments
are very much the same way, because it's easy to listen to a snippet. A lot of people like a real quick sound bite. It's actionable, and it's really easy to do that way.
Like I've listened to, you and I both have listened to James Schramko's Superfast Business, and he'll take a little snippet from me, about even 15 seconds, stick it at the beginning of the podcast before he even has the intro. And that's a very common thing. You know, people show a little scene to get you hooked so that you're going to listen to the rest of it and wait for that little snippet to pop up during the broadcast. It's got a little hook.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it is a hook, because like they know what that snippet is. Yeah. But they also want to like, well, what's the connecting? Because
what's the context?
There's
the connection, the context, the whole thing. Yeah.
And what I was going to say is that, you know, the simple fact of filming yourself doing your podcast gives you actually then, you have now multiple forms of media that you can reach the different areas, right? So you have more, you can have more reach doing that. And so that's, I mean, and that's even why I look at with live event marketers is you have, if you normally say broadcasting within your group or like on your personal profile, well, this then allows you to reach into another group of people that, you know, some may know you already and be subscribed to, you know, to your notifications and things, but also the group will bring you more audience. So it allows you to, in essence, syndicate in another location. So, because I think some people sometimes, because talking to different people, are like, well, I don't understand what the purpose of the group is. Why would I want to post my live stream in there? And I don't know if it's
nothing else. It's just for networking with other live streamers.
Well, actually, that, you know, it's funny. People don't even think about that. They don't. That's kind of like that's why I keep reinforcing the networking part. But even if they thought minimally and even selfishly, it's another avenue that you can reach people. In other words, another distribution channel, because not everybody, again, that's going to see what you may put on your own profile. Hey, I'm going live, blah blah blah. They may not see that. Again, and Facebook and the notifications, especially right now, are a little.
Yeah.
They're a lot better than they were in the over the past month. But so that's why I look at it. And in fact, that's what we do when we go live with this. Right? What's the first thing we're doing? Oh, let me post in this group, and let me post in this group, and let me post. Because why? Distribution.
And again, expanding your reach is the big thing. And I really like the fact that, when we put together something with John where he's actually declared it as an event that's going to happen, it's so much easier for me to share to different places, including groups, because otherwise, if I try to share to the group and the same thing has happened to me, if I try sharing to a group while we're doing a live video broadcast, it starts a watch party. And that's the last thing that I want to have happen in the middle of the broadcast. What
I will say is that I hear what you're saying, but you actually don't have to start a watch party. You just have to actually stop.
No, I mean, the watch party thing is if I'm broadcasting live through my StreamYard or Be Live or whatever it is. When you make that share, after you've gone live, it starts a watch party, which is extremely annoying.
Well, and that's why I'm going to say yes and no. If you want me to share a screen with you, I can. If you want to get into specifics, because okay, so now I've already. All right, let me go ahead and start sharing my screen here. So
sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
I should share my screen with a dinosaur on it. Big purple one.
Ooh.
All right, so
signature sheet.
Yes.
It's gone now. It's a signature screen.
If we look here at this, so here's the live event marketers group, and here's the event that we have shared.
Yeah.
So if we go into actual, if it's going to
let you do it.
Well, actually, it's like not even
share to a group.
It's weird. So I can select this here, but it's not even. Oh, okay. There's my mouse. It's starting to respond now. Okay, so I'll hit share. Now you'll see different options, and let me just explain. Of course, it decided to go away. Let me talk about it while I'm waiting for it to pop back up again. Is that there's what Facebook does is it does different things, whether you're on your phone or a tablet, or a desktop. So you just have to kind of, now it's being all weird about not showing up. Now it's been shared to your timeline. Well, I already did that. That's because I already clicked my button like twice and I was waiting for it to respond, and so I shared. Okay, so watch, we're going to get it to work this time.
You click your button in public like that?
Yeah. Come on, give me my pop-up. Okay, now, so as you see these options, you need to take your time, because when anything pops up, in other words, depending on the device that you're using, it will show you different options. You need to make sure that you do because like it tries to show you, like you're saying, that start a watch party at the very top normally. So you need to look down because I've already shared this, it's not showing me that.
But it's a different thing when you are the one who's initiated the broadcast. Because what I have found is that I'm the one who started the broadcast, and I get to group. That's when it shoots me into a watch party. So okay, that was my point. So
yeah, well, what I'm saying too is that if you just take a moment, you just kind of have to finagle your way around to see where, because you can, like I've done it before, like where I've gone live and then I've shared it into another group. You just have to, like I say, and then it's different on each device you're using. And it's kind of, it is annoying that they do kind of force you, or they're wanting to force you to start a watch party when it's just annoying. Anyway, so it is doable. You just have to kind of, it's like people when you're trying to show somebody how to like do live streams or how things work. With anything on a computer, you have to kind of take your time and say, look, just relax and let's step through it. And like, let's look at what it's showing me. But usually when you're doing a live stream, you're just like, oh yeah, but I want to share it, and boom, 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 boom. And next thing you know, I did it immediately. That's not what I wanted. And
everything. So. Everybody needs to see how awesome we are as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I still just do standard share to the group.
Yeah.
Watch party.
Interesting. I just keep getting the darn watch party, but maybe it's changed because I haven't done one in about 2 weeks.
Well, you've got share that says share group with a watch party, and then if you just go to share, where it lets you share timelines, and
Yeah,
all
probably
of
just the plain share instead of share to group. I think it's the share to group that gets me in trouble.
yes,
Yeah,
just do the plain
That's what it is.
share
Plain share, yeah.
to the group.
Well, if you're wanting to share it to your personal profile, that is just share, and that's what
I
happened
know.
to me because it's
Yeah.
the first selection. But you do need to
Yeah.
share to group if you actually want to share to a group. Then you
Yep.
will select which group. However, this is what I'm trying to say is that when everything's frantic, you know, and you're like live, and now you want to go to us, you can't just push any buttons and just okay, and then try to move on. You actually have to pay attention to what's going on, or else you will start a watch party, or you know what I mean. So that's
Party on.
Yeah, party on.
Hey, so another thing is video. I was thinking one that social is really, really good for video podcasting because people are less likely to share audios with people than they are video. So I think you know, rather than saying it's video podcasting versus audio podcasting, I think the answer is yes. And then so that's why the quality of your audio is so incredibly important. But the other thing that reminds me is people love to see things behind the scenes, like behind the velvet rope, or like in The Wizard of Oz, you know, paying attention to what's going on behind the curtain.
My answer has always been both.
Yeah.
For years, I've always said, why not do both?
Mm-hmm.
That's what YouTube was made for.
Yeah.
So
well, that's the whole thing. You're going to get all that wonderful Google juice with anything that you put out of YouTube.
Yeah, it's another syndication spot. People would love to see that.
Google juice, I like it.
They'll distribute stuff for you.
They do.
It's like the Walmart of video.
So let's give a tip on audio. Here's my tip.
Yeah.
When it comes to audio, use the best mic that you can, and that's again a relative term because look, Dr. V, he's stepping away. Apparently, he was like, I don't need to hear this tip. Look at him. Look at him. He's actually using my tip. Actually, he's using my tip. Actually, come to think of it. Hey, Dr. V, you muted yourself, so we can't hear you.
There, because I had to mute myself because I didn't want to make all that noise clanking it across the floor.
Clanking your Heil PR40.
And by me saying that, I'm not saying that you have to go out and get a different microphone, but get the best one that you can, or the best one that you have. And the point of the microphone is having it as close as possible. In other words, if I were to get
do not swallow your mic.
Do not slobber on your mic.
Well, that's true too, especially in this day and age.
Yes. And so the closer that you can have the mic, the better sound that you're going to get. Too many people can't. So as a matter of fact, like I have two microphones. I have the one on the computer here, and there's actually one built into this Bluetooth headset, and the one in the computer is actually better. But if I don't pay attention, when I do turn this on, my system likes to default to switching over to using that microphone, which kind of gives me, I know it's interesting because sometimes it's okay and sometimes it's not. But this one that I'm using now is directly connected to the computer. This one here is Bluetooth, so there is some difference there. And this one can sound sometimes tin canny, like I'm talking to a tin can kind of thing, something. So the point of having the microphone closer to you is that you'll get a better sound, but you'll also so that's the end of the point. But there's another a part to it of not having it so close to where you're spiking or peaking. You're too loud into your microphone. Yeah. And I won't get into all those details. There's a lot of different videos online to check that out. But basically, you don't want to have your mic too far off. So that's one tip. Here's another super cool tip. If you're doing a recorded video, you can have your mic say like right here. Okay. So like really close, kind of like Dr. V has. And as long as he doesn't move into his mic, into the area of where his mic is, especially either if you're doing green screen or not, but what you can do in post, and especially if you're doing green. So post is a term that's used meaning when you're editing your video.
Post-production.
Yes, post-production is what it's short for. Is that you can actually highlight that section of your of your microphone and replace it with just the background, and just so that the microphone never shows up actually in the video. So you can actually get it quite close to you And as long as you don't, overlap it in any form or fashion, you can actually cut it out and have it just so it looks like you have maybe possibly a wireless mic or something like that. And that's actually a good idea too, is you can buy yourself a cheap, what they call lavalier mic, and just pin it onto yourself, and that brings the mic nice and close. You can get, heck, they run anywhere from $12 on up.
One of those.
Yeah.
About 70 for that one.
I think so. I can't remember anymore, but it had so many clips and things. And then you had to buy a separate extension because it was getting too short when I had a distance between the camera and myself. Otherwise, you couldn't see my hands like Troy.
I like the lav mics because they're a great, they're very useful between different types of video that you would be doing. So a lav mic is going to be a great pairing to your phone as well as your PC. So you can use it in both places, and it's really a great one to start out with for a lot of reasons. So
and you can get them, like I said, inexpensively, starting at $12, with decent quality, and that'll be a wired one because you can get wireless lavalier mics. But I've seen some people sometimes they'll have behind them or behind the camera, they'll have a whiteboard, and they'll go over to it, and there'll be two problems. One, there's then tends to be some kind of echo, and okay, I will state, whatever you got to do, you got to do. So as long as your audio is, you can hear it. It may not be the best, but as long as you hear it, okay. So in other words, don't not get started because everything isn't perfect.
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, because I've done a lot just with an earbud and an existing phone.
Right. So some people will go over to say, like, again, this whiteboard or to some place away from the camera, and what can happen is then when they turn towards the whiteboard area, then the voice isn't kind of going towards the microphone. So that's why even a wired lavalier mic that you can bring back all the way over to the computer is good. And also if you're like literally, so they're writing and they're really facing the whiteboard and they're writing, and now you can't even hear them at all.
Oh, and this happens even without using microphones, because my dad and I used to teach together, and he would be facing the whiteboard or blackboard and drawing and talking, and it was like turn.
Yeah, so lav mic is perfect for that.
Yeah.
We got a Facebook. Iwo or Ewo just gave us an interesting, maybe that's our lucky number for today, and a live chat.
It's not a Twitch.
No, that's why I thought it might be a Twitch with a comment like that, but so like I say, for $12 on up, I mean, heck, lavalier is really good because as John said, you can take it, put it right into your iPhone if you're doing video on that, your computer, man, just so many setups, and then you don't have to worry about because some of the larger mics like Dr. V has, those start, I'd say probably like $100 on up.
Yeah, this one was pretty pricey. I think I got this on sale for a little less than $300, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, I've used it, but not as much as I've used actually just the earbud and the lavalier, and I guess then in the C920, just the microphone that's embedded within the camera. And John's suggestion was that it was a great mic.
What's that? The
C920.
Oh, the C920.
That contained within it was the microphone.
We used to do a lot of testing with the C920, and we found that the mic was a different tone, but nearly as good as my Yeti. I really didn't notice any difference between it and Yeti.
I have a Samson over here somewhere, which was a teeny tiny portable one that I used to hook into my MacBook. That's just an awesome one.
Samson portable. And then I gave that, or I didn't give that, but I was talking to Julia about that. And I mentioned to her that was a really great mic because she needed something for her Mac. So,
which Yeti are you using, John?
I've got a blue Yeti.
Okay, because I know there's different versions of the Yeti, right?
I've seen the white one.
Like white. Well, white. I don't know if white is just the color preference, but I know like that the company I think has different ones out that I thought were also Yetis.
One, and there's a couple different ones. Yeah.
Okay.
The Italian one is the Yeti spaghetti.
Regular USB blue Yeti.
Blue Yeti. Okay.
Yeah. So when it comes to audio, again, there's a lot of different options, and you can get really crazy with money spent on it and a soundboard and all that kind of stuff too. But let's also, not that we can't dip back into audio, but let's talk a little bit about video and say, what to use and what we use and all that kind of stuff.
That sounds good.
For both live and for recorded video. So one of you guys take it away first.
I used to use a Canon T5 for recorded videos, just because it was such a amazingly clean, crisp picture, and it also gave me some depth of field that you really couldn't get as well using some of either the resident camera within the MacBook Pro, or for example this. But I'm finding more and more that with our handy dandy iPhone, that this camera, this array of cameras back in here is absolutely astounding.
Works great.
It really is. And I mean, in fact, sometimes it works too well. It's giving me like this 1080 stuff, almost 4K stuff, and every single pore in my face winds up showing. So, I mean, the other ones that I've used, I think that really is just about it as far as video. I used to have another Canon, a small video camera. It was a Vixa. Is that what they used to call them? A small.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used that a lot, and that was actually pretty good too. But it had those. Were there cartridges that you had to put in and out, or so? That was a little annoying.
I think so. I think it was a straight video camera, but it was a nice video camera.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. It disappeared somewhere. So, but in terms of video, I think those my option. I'm actually quite happy with just a few simple things like the iPhone. I haven't gone back to the Canon T5 in a long time because my wife inherited that from me for her food photography.
Yeah, I've got a Sony that I've used a lot I haven't used it for streaming. I've used it a lot for video over the years. I was going to try using it for streaming at some point because I do think that it would have better quality than just the regular 920 or my iPhone. But to be honest, I really haven't had to.
Well, some people really like the Sony mirrorless DSLRs. That seems to be a big thing now.
I think it's the Alpha 6600 is the new one.
Yeah, that's the one that a lot of people are raving about.
Yeah, that's one that I was taking a look at too. If I'm going to buy a mirrorless camera, that's one that I wouldn't mind taking a peek at.
Except we love the lenses for the Canon. Previously I've had friends who've used Nikon, and the problem with that was every time Nikon came out with a new lens, it was unavailable. It would do a limited run of like 1,000 lenses or 5,000 lenses, and people would want them, and you just couldn't get the Nikon lenses fast enough. Whereas Canon, you could get the lenses more quickly.
Right. Canon, I think, is still one of the more accepted for videos. They seem to like that better than any of the other brands. Yeah. So they seem to be very, very good for streaming. There's a new Canon that they're just recommending. I'm trying to think of the name of it, and it was very, very expensive. I want to say $6,000-7,000.
You're a big time internet marketer. That shouldn't bother you.
I know, it was great. I get this videographer magazine. Mark Hardy talked me into getting this selection of magazines.
To getting videographer magazines? So
yeah.
Do you drool over that like over car magazines?
No.
No. Okay.
No, but it's neat to look at some of the cameras and stuff that are there.
Oh yeah, it always makes you drool. I do want to step back though and say that people can sometimes, really for the most part, unless you have some real issue with it not functioning properly, the camera built into your laptop or your desktop is fine, especially for getting started for both lives and or even recorded stuff.
Yes. I give you a big time yes, because
not always.
Well, no, but here's the thing, because John and I played with this thing, and we were doing it at nighttime. This C920 makes me look like Casper the Friendly Ghost because it lights up so brightly that I had to switch to the resident camera that exists within the MacBook Pro, and it looked much better at nighttime. Whereas this is okay in the daytime, but I have yet to fix it for nighttime videos.
Well, John, let me specify what I'm saying, or let me quantify it. That's the only word I can think of right now. But what I'm saying is that I don't want people being stopped by having to pay more money do all this research, etc. Because sometimes it is really more about the content. In other words, if you can provide, again, good audio, so I would say minimally, if you do need a mic because somehow the audio is really bad with your setup, buy yourself a like a $12 whatever lavalier wired kind of thing. But get started. Don't wait for perfection, and then you can always increase from there. And that's why I said if there's something wrong with your camera, because I mean, somebody could think wrong is like it's not the quality I want, but I mean, I'm using the built-in iMac camera right now.
Yep, me too.
But I will say that there are a lot of other options for you that you may already have available. If you have, there are a lot of the little the action cams. So for example, like if you have a GoPro, on some of those, they do have a streaming mode, meaning that you can connect right to it and into your computer. So check that out. Check and some of the off-brand action cameras as well will make for good streaming cameras as well. And then, you may actually have a webcam, so such as C920, one of the other ones that you actually forgot you had. Sometimes you got to look through the stuff you have because we get on buying sprees and we buy stuff and then, we never use it. Or maybe you need to, like Dr. B saying, for example, maybe he just needs to figure out if he wanted to use it, thought it would be better. Oh, I just need to figure out if I'm going to do things in a darker scenario, how to properly light it, etc. So in other words, take time to figure out how to use your equipment. So speaking of that, and I'm going to go old on you a little bit. This is a...
You're going to go old on us? How is that possible?
So this here so we're speaking of Canon. Okay, this is a Canon EOS Rebel T3i.
I had one of those too.
Yeah, so a T3i is considered old.
I know it is,
This one will actually allow you to stream what they call clean video. Now, clean video, what that means is that it will take the video out, from here and into the computer, and it will not show any of the, how when you have these popped open, it tells you all your things about, like what f-stop you're using, all the fun camera info. I'll just say it'll tell you that, right? Well, this will actually output video into your computer without any of that, because you don't want that on your when you're streaming or you're even recording video, you don't want that to say, like the count, it's showing you the countdown or the of how much space you have on the card, or you don't want to
stop.
Yeah, you don't want to say all that stuff, right? Because that'll kind of take away from your live stream or your recorded video. Now, speaking of a Mac, which is what I have, the software now okay, there's a couple different ways that you can connect to, both on a PC and or a Mac, one of these kind of cameras. So you may actually have one of these lying around. I actually happen to have this lying around because I'm going to be changing my setup, and so instead of buying something brand new, I happen to have this as well as some other ones, but this is one that I happen to have, and I tested it out and it works. And I'm going to be going and doing, I'm going to be switching, as I've talked about to you guys. I'm going to change, I'm going to move from the Signature Series sheet at some point, and I will be using the Canon as my live streaming camera.
That's great.
And so for those who use a Mac, there are some live streaming software known as Ecamm Live, and that will allow you to actually, what in the past you used to have to get a little device that you would connect your camera into and then into your computer.
Right.
And in some cases you probably still would have to do that on the Windows setup, depending on the software. Okay, but with Ecamm Live, you can directly connect this T3i into the Mac through the USB port, and it gives you clean video. And as Dr. V said, it will, and even John had mentioned too, it will give you a more crisp and more clean thing. And to then specify what Dr. V was talking about, the field of view or depth of field,
right?
What you can do with these kind of cameras is, and I'm going to explain the depth of field. So right now with these built-in ones, and even like the C920 from Logitech and that kind of stuff, that'll give you pretty much an infinite focus. So all the way back to, we can see clear. I mean, you can't read necessarily the books in Dr. V's background, but we can tell what it is in the background. But if you want that soft focus that you get with the background, that's where you'll need to use then something like this setup here.
Yeah.
This, and this will allow you to, there you go. Or a Sony as an example. Yeah. This will allow you to adjust that background to have that soft focus.
I wonder if I can borrow my old T5 from my wife to try that out. It's now her property. So
yeah. Well, I'll be completely honest. This camera right here is my wife's, but I'm going to use it. Well, because we have other ones as well, but I mean, I'll be able to use it, not a problem, because again, this is more for me, it's business. So, I mean, anyway, and then
just
at
business.
some, yeah, just business. But at some point, I'm sure she'll be like, hey, we're going to go on one of our trips, whatever. She'll want to use her camera, and we do have other ones. So either she'll pick one of those or she'll take this one, not a big deal. And then I'll just replace it or whatever. But
you could use your Kodak Instamatic with the flash cubes. Right?
You could.
Yeah.
Not for streaming.
No, not for streaming, but for your vacation.
For your trip, yes.
Take the old Kodak Instamatic. I wonder if you can get a flash cube from anywhere now. That would be really retro.
I think you can actually, now that you say that.
Really?
Yeah, you can even get the instant, the Polaroid, the
Polaroid. Yeah, I know Polaroids have made a comeback.
Yeah.
There's a company, I think they're a European company, that actually brought out the Polaroid film, and I believe they also came out with flash cubes and stuff for the old cameras. Yeah, believe it or not.
Flash cubes. I still remember those.
Yeah. So, so there's plenty of options, and like I say, it's better to get started, because getting started also teaches you some things that you kind of want differently. It may teach you that, so for example, if you're going live, right? So, and you're using just Facebook, right? Just the native Facebook app, like Dr. V's been talking about the past few days and stuff, and that he's been kind of messing with it and different things.
It's also been messing with me, by the way.
Yes. Well, of course, software always does that. But you may also learn that, look how, John's doing his stream. They've got 3 people in there. Like, how many people can I have? And I'd like to bring on other, so then you start, in other words, you start wondering what you can do, and then also what you want to do, what your end goal is. And then that will help you determine, and then you can also add on to your equipment. So in other words, maybe you start out with the mic that you bought for $12, but you use your built-in camera. Mm-hmm. And for whether you're recording some training, that's going to be part of one of your products or services that you offer, mm-hmm. or for your live streaming. And then you go into, I want to do some of the more, fancy things or whatever. And then at the same time, if you're just the person that says, bag all this, I just want to get all the good goodies from the beginning, you could do that too. Knock yourself out. Yeah, but the whole point is, I think, and you guys probably would agree too, is to just get started and not wait till everything's perfect.
I agree with you 100%, because I actually delayed a couple of years ago getting started until I got this microphone, until I got another camera. And I could have easily have created another year's worth of content, but instead I was waiting for just the right moment, just the right equipment, when it was all right in front of me.
I want to back up the truck just a smidge. So
make the sound though. Make the sound. There we go.
So we're talking about the cameras in your PC being good. You guys are fortunate. You both are Mac users. So yes,
we're lucky.
You are extremely. You have no idea. So your PC camera in your Mac is great. I mean, that Retina camera is great. However, those of us that are PC users, our cameras are typically horrible at best.
Oh, okay.
Because they put really cheap cameras in. So that's the only caveat. And the other thing is, your PC camera oftentimes has terrible use of memory resources. With the 920, and the reason I always recommend that to everybody is crystal clear. It's just perfect every time. It handles resources better because it's a USB product. And so it's a much better camera. So if you're on a PC, highly suggest that. The other thing they're doing now that's really moronic is
Moronic? We haven't heard that word before here.
I watch people with their PCs, and they're putting the camera at the bottom of the monitor. So
you can look down at your monitor when you.
It's not even that. It's like they literally have to put their PC like up in the air to use the camera.
Yeah. I've seen that sometimes. Yeah.
I have no idea what genius figured that out, but it's awful. It just doesn't make no sense at all.
Unless they were trying to protect the camera by keeping it close to the hinge.
So I don't get that. So that's why I had to figure out about the built-in.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense now. Okay, yeah.
Don't always work.
But once you go Mac, you'll never go back.
Well, let me also state though as well, and I think I said this on one of our early live streams. To me, a computer really is, regardless of which one you have, it's just a tool to get an end result.
Sure.
Because I personally like certain things on Windows and I like certain things on Macs. And on my Mac, I have, again, this is my new one. I haven't installed yet, but on my other one that my son's using now, I have both Windows and Mac installed because I used to use that one and jump between the two to get, again, my end goal accomplished. And there's some software available for Windows and some, and it's not available for Mac and vice versa. So I wouldn't want anybody necessarily to feel bad. And I know Dr. V, that's not his point.
No, because we actually have one PC here, but we have 4 Macs. So it just tells we use all of them, but I would say the PC is the least often used computer in the household.
Yeah. And the other thing that I like to talk about when it comes to video is, like you're saying, with the camera positioning, that if you look at how we have ours, we're not doing, this kind of thing where it's like cutting off my forehead. We're not, here we're going to go, we're going to reveal I'm in a downstairs room. So like, see if I can get all the way, that's as far as it'll go. So I was going to say, can I show some of the rooftop here? But like, you'll have some people that'll be like this, and they'll be like this the whole video or a whole live stream.
And it's a little crazy, but I've seen that before.
I'm like, how does that not drive them nuts? I mean, there's nothing really valuable about this. I mean, and so look at John, the old eyeball thing.
Perfect. There you go.
And at the same time, I would say, you don't want to do any of this. Look at that. That scares people, but meaning like where you're constantly up in there,
This is Pong.
And if you're challenged with showing your face on camera, this may be a good first option for you.
You're peeking above the bottom like a little old lady driving her car along the highway.
Gosh, yeah. Actually, John, since I'm always talking about, it's more important to get going, I would agree with that too, though. I mean, and oddly enough, I would. Like, if that's what it takes, like you're some kind of self-consciously something, whatever, then maybe you can hide yourself whatever.
Start out wearing a mask.
Oh, there you go.
That's why I like doing the thing with the slides, like showing some images as part of your presentation, because then it takes a lot of that stuff away.
Or just surf the web, do a screen share and surf the web on your favorite websites.
Yeah, so those are 2 great points. So what John, if you didn't catch what John was saying, is that you can share some slides, and then you have yourself in one of the corners, almost really like this. So where John is, the slides would be, and you would be the smaller video portion. And then what Dr. V is talking about is where you're doing a presentation where, like I did earlier. So if we did it, like I was showing my screen, where you're showing, say, nothing but your screen, because you can actually you don't have to share your video. So you can do a live or do a recorded video where it's just your screen, and you don't have to be on video if that's the route that you need to go to feel comfortable right now, or if it just makes sense that, I need to have every bit of this real estate. I don't even want my little, self on there. I'm just not them self-conscious. I just don't need to be on there. I want to show them and have them focus on the content.
You can indeed broadcast a recorded video as a live, but according to Facebook's terms of service, you have to somewhere in the corner say previously recorded, even in small letters. They get kind of picky about that one.
Right, because they're not wanting to have people think they're tuning into a live event. And that's actually how it is with live event marketers. What I tell people is that it's for posting upcoming live events or streams, and also if you're like live right now and you post it, again, it needs to be live. Basically, the event needs to be live, so that if people are wanting to interact, it's that whole thing. That's part of the poll of the group, is if you're wanting to interact, you don't want to come into something that's shown in the group. Now, granted, again, if they're coming in and it says, this was posted 5 hours ago and it says they were live, well, you gotta kind of have to put two and two together that you didn't make it to the live, but it was live in that group at that time.
Well, and there's also the possibility, it reminds me very much of evergreen webinars where somebody has a chat that's live. Well, a watch party, for example. A watch party would be a recorded video that you then are having a live chat with.
Right.
And that can provide some interaction too. I think
with the evergreen type stuff is you shouldn't, or at least ethically, in my opinion, you shouldn't state it as a live webinar kind of thing for people to attend. You know what I mean? I'm wondering though, but if the chat is monitored live and you're getting direct Q&A stuff, in my mind, there's a live component to it.
Chat is monitored live.
Yeah, if the chat is monitored live, I mean that replay gives it more value. If it is,
I think some people will have opinions both ways. Yeah. Some people would say no. Yeah. However, again, I'm more in agreement with you that if the content is fine and everything pertaining to what's going on right now, and you are on live,
right,
to where you can, and then in essence answer questions, even though you have other chats that are going on, but you could answer, you could tell like a new one that's popped in and you need to answer that. That still really could be considered a live event. Mm-hmm. However, it might seem weird if you're the one that's presenting and then you're answering somebody's question on there. They would be like, well, I didn't see you typing, and how are you typing with that going on? Yeah. You know what I mean? I think it's how you also preface, again, the attendees that the comments will be moderated live so that anything can be answered, but the event itself or the content is pre-done so that it, I don't want to necessarily call it pre-recorded, but pre-done so that it's presented in its best manner, in its best form.
I will say though that a watch party is significant. What?
It's like a robo webinar.
Well, no, a watch party is not a robo webinar, and the reason I say that is because I've seen people do watch parties where it's their recording, it's a replay of what they've done before, and they pause the recording and come in live in the corner and answer a couple of questions and then go back. So the watch party is almost like a hybrid between a live and an evergreen webinar.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'd call even where you're having like live chat in there that you're actually moderating and you're working on.
Right.
Yeah. With a recorded webinar, to me, that's a hybrid.
Yeah, but the thing is, you actually do get live video coming in when they pause it. They're recording to answer live. So that's really
that is actually really, we'll call that hybrid plus.
That's hybrid plus, yeah.
Yeah. Now, again, you could, if you were doing so, for an example, to get in some of the tools that you can use for live and live events is, so for example, I know, and I'm gonna speak to one that I know personally. I'm not sure about some of the other ones, but so if you're doing Webinarjam, you actually could play a video that is say it's a half an hour long, or even the full hour, but you could actually pause that, go in and go live and say some things you wanted and go back to that. You could actually do that same setup so in other words, that's another platform that I know you could do that. In their other product that the company has, EverWebinar, that is not built that way. Whereas Webinarjam is their webinar platform where you can have recorded videos in it. You can have, it has a lot of other features, but you have your live chat, and then you have your live video. You can have other people brought in like this, like we have here. You can do the slides. Yeah, so it's your whole webinar platform. And I'm sure there's some other live webinar platforms you can do the same thing, where you could be showing a recorded portion, or it could really be your whole thing. And then at the very end, you maybe come on live and you're wanting to go answer questions, because I think sometimes I've seen different presenters too, and maybe you guys have done this, where they've said, hey, I'm not really going to be monitoring the questions right now. I'm going to hit some main ones that I know everybody always asks at the end, and then they also may have somebody else that is monitoring them and will be pulling off the main ones to have answered at the end. So so they'll go ahead and present and then do questions at the very end. So you could actually then have, if you didn't want to do the live presentation, do the recorded thing, then you come on live and go ahead and answer those. Because I think I get sometimes that what you're doing actually lends itself to being recorded, because you don't want to have the, okay, I gotta open up this window. People ain't got nobody got no time for that. They don't want to see that thing later. So give me the polished presentation and content, and then, hey, come on in actually live and answer questions about it, that kind of thing. So I think I think it's appropriate, but I just don't think when you're doing a live video that you should, or excuse me, when you're doing a recorded event or video, that you should tout it as live, with this exception. So in the live event marketers group, I would say that when there's events that are recorded. So like, they recorded some guy who's in Australia and somebody that's, East Coast time, and there's different people that are presenting. So there's no way that you're going to get somebody, okay, this guy in Australia, it's 4 a.m. for him. You're not going to get the best from him or her at that time. Right. And so same with the other people. However, in the group, you can announce it as a live event, because say, for example, it's going to be May 6th and 7th. Well, that's actually when the event is live, even though you're going to be attending recorded portions, or even all of it's going to be recorded, but the actual live event. So to me, that's where it's okay to say it's a live event, because the event itself really is live, even though the material is recorded. So it's really about your intention, and I think how you go about and what you're really wanting to do for the people that you're trying to get to attend to it. So that's my soapbox talk. And
a good one it was.
It's so clean.
There you go.
Wait till I get my my 35 mil my real cam on there, and we'll get some real clean video on there.
Clean video.
Nice and crisp.
Like clean language.
Yes.
Crisp, precise, and unoffensive.
So we're past top of the hour.
Past the top of the hour. Top of the morning to you. Top of the evening to you.
Top of the hour to you.
Top of the hour.
What final thoughts have you?
I have no final thoughts other than don't let equipment get in your way of doing this stuff. Because don't do what I did, which was to wait forever until you had the perfect piece of equipment.
Okay, so my final thought is,
you were supposed to be singular.
I add an S onto it, so that's why I made it thoughts. So is, again, don't wait. So so mine is reiterating yours and emphasizing yours.
Stealing mine. Okay.
I said it the nice way. So it makes it okay. It makes it okay. Is to then, if you would like to get warmed up, so to speak, use something like John's 30-day challenge, basically
live video challenge.
Yes, live video challenge, where you get to basically go in there and just broadcast and get used to doing that. Another one is 99 days that Tillman Knudsen is doing, and it's not solely focused on live streams. However, that's a lot of people are doing, but it's anything you want to really do for a 90-day period. And most of them are using video and live streams to kind of report how they're doing, but a lot of them are using the video for practice. And that was my additional thing. Use something else to kind of practice if you want, but again, don't wait to get started with having the perfect equipment or perfect setup. Get your signature sheet, your patent.
Get your sheet
in the background.
Ain't nobody got time for that sheet.
And nobody got no time.
I will say one thing though, which is this may never occurred to most people, which is you can actually broadcast completely privately and never be seen by anybody, and then review your broadcast. That option exists for you in the Book of Faces.
Yes. Oh, and actually, like you're saying, you could even, if you wanted, forget about, doing computer stuff, whatever, boom, you can go live with your phone.
Yep. And just restrict it.
To explain what Dr. V is saying is, in Facebook, you can create a group and make it a private group.
A group of one.
And you're the only member. Yeah, you're the only member.
And yeah, that's a great idea.
In fact, I do have a group that's for my live tests and just other things that I need to test before I throw it out into Facebook. So sometimes I'm like, let me see how this looks when I share it. So I'll take it. Because I actually have two groups. So in one group, I can take something from there and share it into my other test group, because then you'll see how it actually works. Because you're like, well, I don't want to post it like on my personal profile and then share it into my test group or whatever. I mean, there's different things. So I do have two tests. I have a test 1 and a test 2 for different things that I'm doing, but that's all about to see how things are going to appear, because sometimes Facebook makes you think it's going to be one way because you're looking at it, say, on a personal profile, but then it shows up differently as a share, just different things sometimes. So that's the purpose. So
I had no idea. I had no idea you were so testy.
Well, I could make a comment, but I just will leave that one alone.
So this is interesting.
My testosterone.
This is interesting to see how this is coming together, because you guys know earlier I did a presentation on different video techniques that you could use today to really deal with the different things that are going on around us. And we talked about auto webinars, and we talked about live streaming, and the EverWebinar and StreamYard, and there's all these great tools available for us to do this. So don't let any of that stuff stand in your way. But I don't think there's any better time right now to be looking at these things. It's unprecedented, almost, the stuff that we're seeing. And I saw something the other night that really struck me, that people are going to absorb only 10% of what we say in a webinar presentation.
If
that. So if we're making a 40-minute presentation or a 30-minute presentation, people are going to absorb 3 to 4 minutes of what we say. We actually now have the attention span of a goldfish.
Goldfish less than a goldfish.
I think possibly, because
because it's like you get that goldfish. I think was 6 seconds, and we've got like 3 to capture somebody's attention.
Yeah.
Do you see the number of 3-second video views that you can get when you look at a video? People only were in there for 3 seconds and left.
It makes for some interesting thought process behind all this. So the good news is, no better time to be doing this. People around us have no shorter possible attention span than they could have right now. They're multitasking, they're juggling.
Squirrel.
I mean, everything is going your way, right? So all things to kind of be aware of, and the things that we talked about today are great things that you can put to work right away and utilize. And if you're not, you should. So that's my final thought for today. And on that note, bye, everyone.
Practice safe video.
See you guys
video
tomorrow.
Broadcasting. Be safe.
We'll see you tomorrow at same time. That's 3 Mountain.
Same bad time.
Who does
5 o'clock
Mountain
Eastern,
time? 2
4 o'clock
Pacific.
Central, and 2 o'clock Pacific. And Dr. V's going to tell us
noon Hawaii.
And if you live in
Hawaii,
1 p.m. Alaskan time.
Just saying.
There's no place like Nome.
There you go.